Hey, fellow Spartans, it's your friend Monocle Mayhem, the entirely blue Spartan.
And it's Yeti Whisperer, the entirely purple monkey in the tree. Well,
We did it, finally.
we did.
After all this waiting, we finally saw the new Transformers movie.
And it was a good ass movie.
Well, let's not jump to conclusions.
Well, we're gonna meet every kind of conclusion after this, I think.
Yeah, the movie took place in 1994.
Which I think is cool.
They're still hedging their bets. They're trying to, place it in a time period before the Michael Bay movies just to, see if they can get away with making this not a reboot if they need to. But it's looking more and more like it's like a completely new part of a new series.
It might be, which is okay. I think it can go either way. I mean, like I was thinking when I was watching the movie, Bumblebee is the same, 70s Camaro, 78 or something, that he was in the 2007 movie. So I'm like, this could definitely be a prequel.
Now let's get into the nitty gritty.
Alrighty.
We're gonna smoke a bit first. That's part of the nitty gritty part of this video. It's gonna bring out the best articulation in our thoughts.
Yeah. And drink.
Yes, some inebriation can go a long way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can take whatever's left. Oh, that one almost got me.
What did you think going into this movie what it was gonna be like?
Well, I thought it was gonna be mostly focused on the Maximals, kind of like, yeah, we did Transformers, now we're gonna do Beast Wars. I thought that was what it was gonna be about, so I was actually really happy when I saw the Transformers again, because unlike him, I didn't watch the trailers very much at all, so I didn't know really what to expect. I had just seen bits and pieces, and I thought it was gonna be mostly maybe off Earth, on a different planet. Maybe we weren't gonna see the humans. Or it could have been kind of like the Michael Bay movies where you just see the beasts sometimes and you see the human characters most of the time.
There are some moments where this feels like a remake of the Michael Bay Transformers.
Little bit. Some of the humor was... Actually, the humor was a lot better, I think.
Yeah.
But it was almost bordering sometimes on Michael Bay movies where it's just kind of the silly robots are yeah, let's kick it, and just saying all these weird one-liners that don't really land. But it was a little bit better done this time around. And
going into this, I mean, I was expecting... I didn't have super high expectations, but I was hoping for, at the very least, we got introduced to the Maximals and the Autobots, and I knew the Autobots were going to, take more focus because they were, the most popular characters out there. But the Maximals... they haven't been on the big screen before, and I say this movie didn't really do them justice. Maybe did one of them justice, but
no,
we'll get further into that. So we have, for characters, let's start with our human characters. There's surprisingly very little human characters in this. There's I don't know, maybe a few side characters here and there. There's Aaron's family, or what was his name, Noah?
Yeah. I like that, actually. I think these movies...
It was more condensed. There wasn't a whole bunch of shit going on.
Yeah, I think it's better when there's more Transformer action going on, because that's more what the audience...
Whether it's just them hanging out with each other or fighting each other, that's what we come to see here.
Yeah, and I think that's mainly what the people coming to this movie were wanting to see, is more of the Transformers and beasts and all that, and not so much the human characters. They don't come there for that, because if you're wanting a human-centered movie, you just watch any other movie. But I mean, good human characters are all, of course, a bonus. But I was really hoping for more of the Transformers and just more of the robots in general and less of the people, and I was pleasantly surprised.
I'd say this is the most competent human protagonist we've had in these movies.
Yeah, I mean they work together. They're
Like he wasn't an asshole like Sam and the other guy played by in like 4 and 5 played by Mark Wahlberg.
yeah, oh yeah, and they didn't have like a overly sexualized female character, which is good because like it. I mean, I hate to
I don't
say
want to
it.
sound woke, but it was nice watching a Transformers movie and it didn't have like some like sexy model that like didn't have anything to them be like
That doesn't
characters of love
add
interest.
anything to the story or anything really. Um, yeah, because if you want that, just watch a different movie. You know, it's
I
like,
like how they were just friends. Like they didn't need to get together at the end.
I know because
There's no
there's
pointless shoehorned romance in this.
because like there's
They're at best they were like pretty damn good friends at the end, and we see at the end he's like happy for her when she's on the news and she's like doing well with her job.
yeah. I just think you're right. Relationship like love interests and romances are really shoehorned into like every single piece of media all the time, and it's actually a very nice breath of fresh air to not see it. So, I mean, honestly, they made a solid movie without cheesy romance, and I'm really happy about that as well. I think this is actually breaking a lot of different barriers, and we're breaking down a lot of different barriers rather, and just kind of like doing its own thing and not worrying about like what every other movie does. So I really like that part of it, and
This
It-
had a lot of the problems with the Michael Bay movies. I think like remedied. They didn't focus on like all these different plot lines with human characters. They condensed it down and like just gave us a small ensemble of robots in disguise.
yeah, yeah, which is good because you want to see more of the robots. And I think it was especially necessary in this movie just because they're introducing so many robot characters. Yeah, you have all the old Autobots like Optimus and I almost said Buzz Lightyear, but Bumblebee. Both both of them kind of have a buzz, bees buzz.
Yeah.
Yeah, so imagine if they met, eh? Buzz Lightyear and Bumblebee. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be a nice collaboration. Anyways,
We love to have the big guys join the fight.
As far as characters go, next we have our uh, main protagonist, I guess you could say, for like the robot side of things, Optimus Prime.
yeah, there's a lot of them in this movie, which is good.
Yeah, more than I expected there to be, and he wasn't like overly murderous, I'd say.
Yeah, not
compared to Michael
overly.
Bay's
Still a little bit
take on
murderous,
him.
but I mean, he had to do what he had to do. I'll take that back, in this movie at least. But like, I just think it's good that he's kind of front and center because you need a strong like lead like him because he's always been the lead character mostly in the
He has
Gen 1.
more character than he's ever had in a long time.
Oh, exactly. Like he's, willing to do noble sacrifices and stuff like that. He's willing to protect his friends, and he's
There was a little bit more depth to him than I was expecting. Like he had like this dilemma of wanting to do right by his people and he fails along the way, and then at his lowest points he starts to question and doubt his abilities as a leader.
yeah. Oh yeah, which I think is it's really good character building for him because it's very humanizing.
Yeah,
And-
instead of and we actually understood why he would when he did get violent and murderous, why it was happening, and it didn't just come out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was necessary. It wasn't just like no Optimus.
Fair, Sentinel did betray him, but still, I mean, he was defenseless and
Yeah.
not a threat. Anyways, the relationship that they tried to give between Noah and Optimus was pretty damn good. I mean, I didn't feel like there was like a super huge connection there, but I mean, they did have like some relatability with each other.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, they both want to protect their people, and they both understood the lengths it takes to do that.
Yeah, I guess that's the next character we'll talk about is Bumblebee.
Hmm.
They gave him the radio voice again.
Yeah, like when does he lose his voice?
He lost it in Bumblebee.
But yeah, I never really liked the radio voice that much. Like, especially in the Michael Bay movies, I thought it was always very gimmicky.
It was definitely kind of gimmicky in this movie, but it wasn't annoying.
Yeah, which is good. They probably went
They
to
toned it down and made it a little bit more comprehensible and used more recognizable references if they were going that route.
So it's just like, not like, but Bumblebee, what will you do? And the horses are off! Oh, welcome to Zellers! I mean, obviously he made some references in this through his radio voice, but it wasn't too over the top, but I think it was done as well as I could have done it, so.
What's his name? Mirage?
Yeah.
He seemed to be kind of like a Bumblebee replacement.
You think?
Yeah, like the main vehicle / character Autobot that the protagonist is with most of the time.
That's like good energy, nice guy, somewhat of a wisecracker, and
Honestly, the trailers for this movie made me think he was going to be a little bit more annoying than he was in the actual movie.
but luckily he wasn't, and it was.
Yeah, he was actually pretty funny and a lot of his jokes landed.
I don't know how they could have really made him better, in my opinion. I really liked his character because he was very, protective, and like when he was like, like standing over Sam, like getting shot,
No,
just
it was
protecting
Noah.
him. Or Noah. Why do I keep saying Sam? I'm too used to Sam in these movies, I guess.
I mean, yeah, that was his best aspect is like I didn't like mistake him for being a coward at all at any point in this movie. He seemed like really
Always very
genuine.
brave, yeah. Always throwing himself into the fight, and yeah, he did that because he has a very good advantage up his sleeve. I mean, he can, he's Mirage, so he can, fool his enemies really well.
Yeah,
But-
I like that. He used it to fool the police,
Yep.
and he used it to punch Scourge in the fucking face.
Yeah. I really like the scene when they're running from the police. It's not when he splits out his mirages, but it's just before that when he's driving backwards and he transforms to go forwards with Sam in the car. Not Sam.
Noah.
Noah, yeah. Yeah, he transforms and is able. It goes from backwards to forwards. I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I must say though, speaking of Noah, I do like him a lot better than the old Sam. Less annoying.
This movie does kind of benefit you if you're like already a Transformers fan, because that kind of makes up for some of the gaps that there are in this movie. Which brings us to like RC and what was his name, Wheeljack,
Yeah.
the one that was playing with butterflies and had the big glasses.
Yeah, I think that was Wheeljack.
Yeah, RC, Wheeljack, and was there another Autobot?
There's
Wheeljack.
the plane. Whatever,
yeah, the
forgot his
plane.
name. There was
What was his name?
I don't remember. I think that's all. I think that's all the Autobots actually.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
those Autobots that I just mentioned, RC, Wheeljack, and yeah, the airplane, they don't really have too much going on for them. Like, they did kind of get the short end of the stick, but they do have some standout scenes action-wise. He pulls a brake and dodges a missile.
Yeah, like I don't know if those old VW buses actually had dual sliding doors, like a modern minivan, but like it works so well in that scene. I loved it.
And then there's a scene that just happened here where she jumps off of Rhinox and joins fucking what's his face, Wheeljack.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too.
The actual scene was a bit longer,
Hmm.
but it was still just as cool as it was in the trailer.
So here's a question I have: do you think RC could have went through that tiny tunnel to, get the key?
If she crawled,
Well, what if she was in her motorbike form? Well, she was. She wouldn't take up that much space.
I guess to be fair, they needed RC in the fight at least.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I wouldn't mind if they centered around her more. Like, she seemed like a decent enough character.
Yeah, I mean, she had like a few nice moments, a few good jokes, good one-liners, and action scenes, but not too much time was dedicated to her character, which isn't really unfortunate. It's just
I'm glad we're able to see her at least.
she was a good asset to the team, and same with Wheeljack and that airplane dude. He didn't really do much other than fly them around.
Well, that was pretty important though, because they had to get from New York to Peru somehow and back.
Yeah.
I think the reason why he wasn't in the fight wasn't just because he was old, but also because he needed to fly them back.
Who are you? And why are you hunting for the key?
Optimus Primal, what do you think of him?
I thought he was good.
Voiced by Ron Perlman.
I liked him, and I liked the interactions him and Optimus Prime had. I mean, obviously, Optimus Primal was named after Optimus Prime, and obviously took big inspiration from him and probably looked up to him and stuff like that. And I think they handled that relationship very well. And
I like the moment where he was Optimus Primal was questioning Prime's leadership, and he was like, he's different from what I expected. Shows that like Optimus isn't quite living up to the legend he created for himself.
Yeah, which happens. I mean, not all your heroes are perfect, so I think it was cool that they're able to tackle that in such a bold way that you can kind of see it, understand it, and relate with it. Yeah, I like that we got to see a lot of Optimus Primal, and he seemed like he was very much the character that
He's
was
the one Maximal that we see like the whole time.
Yeah,
pretty much
like we barely see Cheetor or Rhinox. They don't really say anything.
Yeah, like Rhinox was non-existent.
You just see him a little bit.
You miss him.
Doesn't even talk.
Cheetor has like one line where he's like, "Oh, sorry, brother," to like Mirage. The Maximals didn't get a whole lot of speaking roles.
No, which was unfortunate, but
especially as a Beast Wars fan, like I'm part of the audience that this movie is clearly trying to draw in. As far as the Beast aspect of the movie, it's kind of lacking.
Yeah.
And disappointing, and
yeah, just a little bit. I mean, they could have done a lot more with them. Say like,
I'd say give this movie another 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of movies that are like 3.5 hours or 2.5 hours, almost 2 hours and 40 minutes long. So I think it could have been doable, and they could have just built on their characters a bit more, and showed like the motivations behind Cheetor, and show like Rhinox's personality more and stuff like that.
Yeah, they could have at least shown off Rhinox's original dual chain guns.
Yeah,
just as a nice reference, but
they could. Yeah, they totally.
They didn't do that. I don't even think we see him do much in the fight, transformed or not. This movie is supposed to advertise the toys as well, and nobody's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I want Rhinox."
Yeah.
You don't see him do much.
I know, like
he does run down a few people, but
some of the kids
anyone can do that.
Yeah, like some of the kids in that theater like probably went to the bathroom while he was on screen and never saw him. Don't know who this Rhino guy is.
I really dislike how they kind of sapped the color out of all the Maximals.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't really tell which Maximal was which, other than Cheetor and Optimus Primal.
Really?
Yeah, because Cheetor was kind of bronze, gold. They probably didn't want Cheetor to colors to conflict much with Bumblebee.
Yeah, probably.
He didn't join the fight yet.
Yeah, like I think he could have been very much like orange.
He was like a bronze color. He wasn't. I think he needed to be a bit more of a vibrant cheetah color.
Yeah, I think that would have been a lot better.
And like Rhinox, I don't know what they're going for with him, but I mean, he's basically the same color as Airazor. Airazor's the same color as Optimus Primal. Like the Maximals are just all vaguely similar in color palette and their eye colors. It's just,
which I think they could have done a little bit better. But I like them in their beast mode.
Beast modes were pretty cool.
Yeah, and they're very distinct in their beast modes.
And when it was on screen, the few little bits we got in the final fight, Optimus Primal's robot form.
Yeah,
that was alright.
yeah, I thought he looked cool in his robot form as well. Yeah, so overall, like, I wish we got like more characters like Rat Trap and stuff, but
Yeah, no Rat Trap. I guess
Yeah.
rats aren't good enough for the big screen. I mean, Rat Trap could have been like a cool Rocket Raccoon type character. in
yeah,
Maximals.
because he has that personality.
None of the Maximals really have any personality to them.
Oh, boo! Boo-hoo! Oh, don't stop now! You motorheads are killing me.
Yeah,
Other than Airazor.
no, I mean,
Airazor got a lot of screen time in comparison to some of the Maximals. I think it even rivals Primal's screen time.
I think Optimus Primal's like personality, it's similar to Optimus, but not quite. And I think they're able to capture that pretty well.
That bothers me because this movie's called Rise of the Beast, and overall the Beast characters like get almost no screen time. Like, I am hoping this is a setup for like a Beast Wars movie.
I'm thinking so. I'm thinking they're either gonna make a Beast Wars movie or at least focus on the beasts a lot more in the next movie. This might not be the last we're gonna see the beasts, and I hope it isn't, and I doubt it is. Who knows? Maybe if enough fans complain, they'll bring back Rat Trap for the next movie.
Now we gotta get the bad guys.
Yeah, and I actually didn't mind them too much. Like, I probably can't name them very well, but I really liked.
Well, we have Scourge.
Oh yeah, he's the main bad guy who's just, pretty ruthless.
We have
And
that orange trucker guy.
yeah, and we have the purple Nissan Skyline girl. I liked her actually. I think
Yeah, she had a few standout moments when they were fighting.
yeah, I think if they focus on her more in the sequels, that'll be neat because I think she could be a very intimidating villain just because she just seems like she's
She
very.
died though.
Oh, did she? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I do remember that now. Yeah, a few people died actually, but I mean,
Bumblebee died for a bit.
yeah, and yeah,
I think it would've
exactly.
been pretty bold if they kept him dead.
Yeah, but then they wouldn't be able to tie it into the 07 movie. And
Yeah,
Michael Bay.
that too. If that's the route they're going,
Yeah.
or, they won't be able to sell as much toys.
I really thought they were going to kill off Mirage, which I was very sad about, but he came back, and I was happy. I was sure they're gonna kill him off because he's maybe not as much merchandisable as Bumblebee. So I figured he might be the one that dies. So when he was, sacrificing himself over Noah, I really thought that was it. But you just
You built him at the end.
exactly, yeah. I think it was a clever way they did it at least, because he, it was able to form into a suit for Noah to help him fight. And obviously now Mirage is still around. Now he's a little bit more of a dilapidated Porsche, but he's still there, which is cool. So he's gonna come back in sequels. But yeah, back to the bad guys, I guess. Who was your favorite?
Definitely Scourge.
Yeah, he's a pretty badass dude.
He was he gave Optimus a pretty hard time. Kind of remind me of Puss in Boots, where the wolf first is fighting him,
Yeah, I met his match.
and he's saying that he's sloppy and everything.
Yeah.
Kind of remind me of what happened there in this movie when they first met each other.
Yeah, Optimus Prime at his match. He's always the kind of the leader, the protector of the group, but then all of a sudden he's challenged.
He had a very intimidating presence, and I think Peter Dinklage voiced him.
Yeah. Did you think Optimus was pretty ruthless on him?
Yeah, reasonably so. He did kill Bumblebee, and he's fucking terrorizing them and their world and shit. I felt his presence was a very persistent and intimidating one, but Unicron, I kept forgetting that Unicron was the big issue most of the time.
Well, I always knew about Unicron since they mentioned it, and I was like, okay, that's gonna be part of the movie. And obviously, when we saw it, that was kind of the main driving force, because you don't want everything to get freaking sucked up like a freaking tornado from Kansas.
Oh yeah.
That was kind of like the main driving force to all that disaster going on. So
Even though Unicron didn't transform into his like ultimate form, I don't even know if he could do that in this movie.
yeah,
Apparently not.
yeah, it'd be cool, but yeah,
Yeah, that's not what we got. But what I really like is how the Decepticons, or not Decepticons, the Terracons, whatever, the bad guys in this movie, they don't have the fucking monster crab face. They're not spitting everywhere, and
they're almost like Team Rocket in a very like scary, messed up way.
they're like classic Decepticons.
Well, they're not incompetent like Team Rocket. They're forced to be reckoned with.
Let's see, the Maximals are in this movie, but no Predacons. At least
No.
there was like this one moment where Scourge, all those emblems they had from all his victims, he had a Predacon symbol on his shoulders. So
So he killed a
Predacons
Predacon.
are in this universe, but I don't think we saw any of them.
No, maybe in the next movies. Who knows?
I was at least hoping for a Megatron cameo at the end, like a Beast Wars Megatron or the real Megatron even.
What enemies do you think are gonna come back, if any?
I mean, it's up in the air because, I mean, the Terracons could come back.
What Terracons are even left though? Just the tow truck?
I think they're all dead.
Not really all of them, eh? That's not the whole, crew of them at least. There's more probably.
The final fight was alright, in my opinion. It wasn't like super great, in my opinion. There had great standout moments, but some of it was kind of monotonous. A
Yeah.
little bit busy with all the repetitive enemies. I think if they like slim down like what they were doing with the enemies, and like maybe add like 2-3 more Terracons, or maybe like add 2 or 3 Predacons to the mix.
I mean, maybe.
Gotten more centered battles.
Yeah.
Each character got a chance to shine, and all these different little mashups you could have. But instead, they're just fighting fodder enemies.
Yeah.
Like copy and paste Scorponok and other things, like the little human-sized monster things.
For a second, I thought they were, when you first see them, I thought they were like Ravage and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Ravage, Attack, or whatever. They're kind of like robot Demodogs from Stranger Things or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, we got like no hints at future movies other than a G.I. Joe movie.
Do you think that the G.I. Joe movie is going to be separate, or is G.I. Joe going to help them fight whatever the next enemy is going to be?
I think the G.I. Joes are gonna get their own separate movie.
I don't know. Do you think it's kind of late for G.I. Joe nostalgia bait? Because like all the like young parents taking their kids to the movies because they watch the movies are kind of like they're in that 90s 2000s range. I mean, a lot of those. I mean, obviously Transformers is very like, it came out in the 80s, but we had the Michael Bay Transformers and stuff like that. And a lot of
Say
stuff
what
in
you want about
between.
Michael Bay movies. The Michael Bay Transformers was a boon for the Transformers fan base.
But like G.I. Joe never had that same thing happen for it. So
I think the G.I. Joe movies were kind of flops.
yeah. And how long ago did they come out? Like
Around the same time some of the old Transformers movies came out.
yeah, and like I never even saw them or heard of them. So I don't know.
Yeah, and it wasn't convoluted at all. It was pretty simple to follow, even though it was kind of a little bit generic in some fashion, like the whole MacGuffin idea of like, oh, we have to find the key,
Yeah.
and we gotta stop the explosion key.
But I think that it was the right choice because it was it made it understandable for kids and new fans like of all ages. Like I think
Yeah, they kind of like it's kind of up in the air whether this is a reboot or not, but they at least rebooted the formula a bit. Like we're past like the Bayhem era, I think.
Bayhem
now.
era, yeah.
Even though Michael Bay was a producer on this movie.
Anything else that tickled your fancy?
I like how Optimus was a bit more like father-like in this movie.
Yeah, because he was more of that.
There was this part where he was like, "No, not cool."
Yeah,
and he's told Bumblebee he's not allowed to go to drive-in theaters anymore.
I mean, think about it. Like, usually if you're like like a strong male protector of your tribe, you're going to be, you know, very caring and nurturing to those around you that you need to protect, and of course very protective of them. But when a saber-toothed tiger comes along, of course you're going to rip its head out with its spine and throw it into the lava. So, yeah. I think they really did that well with him because he's a lot more in line with the Gen 1 Transformers and not this kind of like, you know, always tough saying like, you know, these poetic one-liners and being ruthless and like shooting other robots like when they're begging for mercy.
Yeah, I'd say coming out of this movie, if you were an Optimus Prime fan, you'd be very pleased.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of very happy Optimus Prime fans after watching this.
But I do have one major complaint. Well, two major complaints.
Okay, shoot.
But it's more of a personal thing as a fanboy. I was hoping for there to be a David Kaye playing Megatron, the Beast Wars Megatron, like have that sort of cameo at the end.
I understand if you're a big fan of David Kaye and the original Beast Wars and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, another one is when Optimus stayed behind to sacrifice himself by blowing up the thing or stopping Unicron in some fashion. I was expecting him to pull out his Matrix and like use it against Unicron.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that because obviously in the
because we watched the G1 Transformers movie. And
yeah, where he opens his robot tits and just takes out the Matrix or whatever and just like, you know, almost drops it, and that's like the last thing he does because he's, you know, on the verge of death. So
even though he's been in like a shit ton of movies, I think he's a very underutilized character when it came to like fleshing him out.
yeah, I think now they have the golden opportunity to actually do that.
Yeah, especially before I don't want to get morbid, but before Peter Cullen kicks the bucket.
Yeah, that's
He's
true.
getting up there.
How old's he now?
He's like in his early 80s, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do for that. I don't know if they're going to find someone else or if they're going to, like, you know, if Peter Cullen's going to, like, sign off his AI rights or whatever and
Yeah.
have him then use his voice.
I don't know if
Whatever
that's going to be
happens.
the best or worst case scenario as they do what they did with James Earl Jones in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show where they just AI scanned his voice and reproduced it.
Yeah. I mean, as long as the voice actor agrees to it, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion.
AI is getting so good now, I'm sure they could probably do it flawlessly and have all the inflections and stuff, so.
Speaking of morbid things, there was a moment watching this movie where I wanted to shout out in the middle of the theater when it showed the Twin Towers and there was all the smoke from the portal behind them.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's not the first time. That won't be the last time there's going to be smoke in that city.
I think in the original Spider-Man, like the first Tobey Maguire movie, like they actually had to erase the movies, the towers from that movie.
Yeah, there was a scene where the helicopter gets caught in the web between the towers.
Yeah, that was like a whole trailer, and they had to just cut it out because I guess it was too recent. But I think now,
It's too fresh on the brain.
but I like that the fact that now it's been long enough that they're able to put the towers back in media because, you know, people always say like it was so iconic to see them in media in the past, but now we can still see them. So that's kind of cool.
Well, we have to do the obvious thing. We did a few points throughout the review, but now we're really going to get into it. Comparing this to the Michael Bay Transformers movies, or at least the first Michael Bay Transformers, as a reboot, how would you consider this in comparison, like how this introduced the Transformers to audiences?
A lot better, I think, actually, because like right off the bat, the
Like
Transformers.
this scene here.
Yeah, I like this.
It's
scene.
reminiscent of when the Autobots first arrive in the 2007 movie when they first introduced themselves.
Yeah, but like,
There's
and,
even
like-
a scene where they're pointing a light in the window,
yeah,
and he's like, "No, turn it off. You're gonna scare everybody."
but like this time around, they weren't just bumbling robots knocking over flower pots. They're actually like,
Well, Mirage does destroy a car.
well, yeah, but I guess so, but
It didn't take up too much screen time.
exactly. Yeah,
So, yeah, we checked that. Can check that off now.
yeah.
There was no misuse of special effects by making the robots do stupid hijinks.
Yeah, like tiptoeing around a backyard and a chihuahua peeing on their toe or something, you know. So
Yeah,
it's just
or having robot testicles.
yeah. Like I'm glad they didn't do any of that, and I commend them for not doing any of that. So I like the scene when they're in the warehouse and they're all kind of like introducing each other, because like obviously, yeah, in the Michael Bay movies they talk, but it's more like their sentences are like 5 words long. In this, they felt a lot more natural and more like they were in the Gen 1 show.
Yeah, we got, even though not all of them are super fleshed out characters, we still got a good sense of who and what they were.
Yeah.
Whereas, what we know about Jazz in the first Transformers movie, he just knows, all we know about him is that Earth is a good place to kick it, and he gets ripped apart.
Exactly. Like, how are we supposed to care for that character? People probably didn't even notice him and probably didn't even realize that he died.
Even Bumblebee in that movie, he just had like a few lines on the radio, and he was Sam's car for a bit, and then all of a sudden we're supposed to feel sad when he's being captured by the government.
he's on the ground being all tied up, like, and Sam's like, "No, Bumblebee!"
And that's another thing I like. There was no government involvement in this movie.
Yeah, I like that too.
Like,
But-
there was no government, like, trying to be like, oh, we gotta find out what are these Transformer things doing.
There's no CIA guys running around in like suits being like, "Oh, look at this computer. Oh, look at this data. Oh, Susan, you spilled your coffee again. Haha." Like, we don't need that in Transformers movies.
That's the thing. Like, the human characters don't always have to be a window into this world. Like, we could just finally just
Let the Transformers
brave enough
talk.
to let our audiences run loose in this world.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we just start off the movie being thrown right into like this war that the Maximals are having against like the Terracons,
Which I liked.
and Optimus Primal's look-alike got killed.
Yeah.
Something that is another pet peeve of mine: no use of the Transformers theme.
No way.
I mean, there's no Decepticons in the movie, so you can't really have the old line, Autobots wage the battle to the evil Decepticon, blah blah blah.
They had one line though that was
More
these
than
humans.
meets the eye.
Yeah, these humans. We must help them because they're more than meets the eye.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I mean they had to throw it in there at some
Yeah,
point.
these humans, there's more to them than meets the eye.
I like this. I think they've kind of fixed the reputation of Transformers. Not that Transformers had a bad reputation before, but it was more like a kind of like an immature, like you know, dumb pee jokes a lot of the time and stuff.
It was
and
a bit of a course correction.
yeah,
It adjusted like what the type of humor it delivers, and it also adjusted on like how it spends time with the characters. So yeah, I'd say it's as far as reboots go, it's a pretty good reboot.
you know, like we were talking about before, some characters didn't have a lot of screen time, but I think, you know, there wasn't a whole lot they could do with that because, you know, they had to make a good, compelling movie in the span of 2 hours.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, who are you gonna spend the most time with? The Beasts or the Autobots that we already know and love?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a easy. The decision's easy if you're trying to make some money.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, you're probably right. There's probably a lot more Autobots fans than Beast fans, because I'll be honest, like I've always known the Transformers as vehicles, not animals. So, like for me at least, I probably would have been going in for more of the Transformers, or I mean more of the Autobots and stuff. So at least you get Optimus Primal. I mean that's important. You see like quite a bit of his character, and I'm glad about that. And obviously Hairbaiser and stuff, you see her a lot, well, till she dies. But yeah,
Optimus Primal had to crush her.
yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I mean that almost reminded me of when in I Am Legend, when Will Smith has to like kill that dog because it's like infected. It was a lot,
Oh, yeah.
a lot like that.
Well, she was infected too, technically.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's
Like
a parallel.
She was infected. She wasn't herself anymore, so he had to do what he had to do, and that sucks. But This movie showcases a lot of necessary evils, I guess. There's that, and obviously there was, I mean, Optimus Prime's brutal beatdown of Scourge, yeah. I think both of them are necessary evils. It wasn't anything like, you know, yeah, one of them was like begging for mercy, and it's like, boof, boof.
Yeah, Optimus in this movie, it was like he was relearning how to be strong enough to be gentle. I think they could have done that without some of the lines where Optimus is like saying that he's gonna like kill them or some shit.
Yeah.
Like when Unicron is like offering like anything to Optimus, he's like, like he could have been like, for this madness to end, and then shuts down the thing.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, to kill you or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree with you there, because that's kind of
That's some of the Michael Bay seeping in there.
I feel like Optimus Prime is someone who's obviously he has wisdom to spout when he's not in combat, but when he is in combat, I feel like he's the type of character that his actions speak louder than his words. So he doesn't really need to be saying like, "Oh, I'll kill you." If he's really trying to protect somebody, he's gonna do what has to be done. But he doesn't have to say much doing it, or he doesn't have to say like things like that to get his point across.
Or hell, he could have just pulled out the Matrix at the end and been like, "Oh, light our darkest hour," and maybe even throw in The Touch by Stan Bush.
You've got the
Maybe
touch.
even make it a remake Stan Bush from like some hip. Is Eminem still hip? We could get his version of The Touch.
I think Eminem is pretty
You'd be
timeless.
like, "Oh yeah, you got the touch." Blah blah blah.
yeah, adds like a crazy lyrical, like poetic, like rap in between the
There
actual
was
hooks of the song.
a touch rap.
Oh yeah.
Sam's theme from the first Transformers. It wasn't in the movie, but it was on the soundtrack. It was Stan Bush coming back to sing The Touch,
Yeah.
and it had a few like rap numbers in it.
Too bad they didn't get Weird Al Yank to do a song in this one too.
Yeah, like the G1 Transformers,
Yeah, I think he could have done a cool song for this one as well.
like Dare to Be Stupid.
Yeah.
They did throw a few out of place songs in this movie.
Yeah, and a lot of like 90s hip hop songs, which is cool because it's obviously takes place in 94, so
Wasn't like Biggie Smalls in that?
I think
in that
so.
too?
Yeah.
The boom, boom.
At least in the beginning. But
The song that I always associate with Moon Man,
yeah.
Notorious KKK Moon Man.
Yeah.
K, Bob. Sicker than your average nigger killer. Twist niggers, heads off niggers, fucking stink niggers and gators, chicken wing eating players.
Whenever I hear like Biggie Smalls or anything like that, I immediately think of the 90s, so I think they really encapsulated that well. So I like that.
Well, what else do we have to say about this movie? I think we touched just about everything.
Pretty much, actually. His brother was always calling him Sonic, Noah's little brother. He's
Yeah.
always being like, "Oh, Sonic," and I guess his name for his little brother was Tails. So, oh, that's kind of funny.
I thought it got like a little cheesy at the end where he kept hyping him up. Like I think after he was like, "You can do this," and he could have like rose up and started doing it, but when he really started nailing it home, trying to hit it home, like with the emotional pep talk, I felt it was starting to crash and burn a bit.
It didn't really land.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, get on with it.
This movie did not make me want to tear up at all. It was an epic movie, but like it didn't have like that kind of emotion to it.
So that's the new Transformers movie.
It was fucking good.
Well, that's enough mayhem for today. Peace out, Spartans.
Bye.